Okay, so before you guys say anything, my video that I'm going to be doing today is unlike anything that I've ever done, and it came upon me to do a video like this when I went to school today, and my friend, I'm not going to tell you his name, but my friend watched my gaming collection, my portable gaming collection, part 2, and he told me all the mistakes that I made and all the games that I was missing out on that I forgot to mention. So this video is basically going to be dedicated to him, and I know he's going to watch this video. So you know who you are. It's going to be the timeline of the Pokemon games. Now, why I decided to do this is again because of him, but you know, Pokemon is like the first game that I ever played, so you know it'll always live in my heart as like an amazing game series. So yeah, I know it's not anything like any of the other videos that I've done with my collections and some unboxings now here and there, and my Let's Play going on right now. But I just thought I'd make this video really quick. It won't take that long if I remember my facts, which I probably don't. So, back in December of 1998, Nintendo released 2 games at the exact same time so that consumers can pick which one they want, because of the different monsters and Pokemon that you can get, the different exclusive Pokemon that you can get in the game. And those were Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue. Now, they did release a Pokemon Green, but that came out, I think that was a Japanese only release. If it's not, then please feel free to tell me otherwise. But Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue were released for the original Game Boy, and yes, I don't have them, so I can't show them to you. But they, yeah, that's basically all I need to say. Then they released Pokemon Yellow, and that was basically it's basically Ash's story, because right around that time they also released the cartoon show, which I'm not going to go into detail, this is just the games, but they released the TV show. So they released Pokemon Yellow, and your starter Pokemon was Pikachu, and you went around with Pikachu, because he wasn't in his Pokeball. I mean, you know, it was kind of a different game than Red and Blue. Well, then going on to the Game Boy Color, we have Pokemon Silver and Gold, and they were also released at the same time, so depending on your personal preference, you could choose which one you want. And these games were set in a totally different region, and they had a totally new cast of characters and new Pokemon that you can use. Some were from the original, some were from the newer ones, and yeah, it was just really fun. It was just bunches of fun. I have Heart Gold, the remake of that, and I also have Leaf Green, which was the remake of Blue and Red, but that's later down the timeline, so forget I ever said that. Well, they also released Pokemon Crystal, and Pokemon Crystal was kind of the same thing as Yellow. It was kind of like a spin-off in a way, but you know. Before I go any further, I just want to mention something again. I'm not going to include any of the hacks, like Pokemon Brown, which is a hack of Pokemon Red. I'm not going to be mentioning those. So, yeah. Then they released Pokemon Leaf Green and Fire Red, which they were remakes of Pokemon Red and Blue on the original Game Boy. They were released on the GBA or Game Boy Advance. And if we come over here, you probably already know this if you're watching my portable gaming video, but just in case you haven't, I do have Leaf Green. My brother has Fire Red. And to the best of my knowledge, I don't think that they released like a spin-off. To the best of my knowledge. But after that, also for the Game Boy Advance, they released Pokemon Sapphire and Ruby. And they took place in an entirely different region. And it was released for the Game Boy Advance. If I didn't mention that, I think I did though. And they also made a spin-off of that one too, and it was Pokemon Emerald, which I have that, but I'm too lazy to go over there and get it. So yes. Then came, I mentioned Emerald, didn't I? Yeah, I mentioned Emerald. Then came Diamond and Pearl, and they were totally different region again, totally new line of characters, and yeah. Brand new Pokemon that no one had ever seen before, and you know, it was bunches of fun. I have Diamond, because that was my personal choice. I went with Diamond. And they yet again released another spin-off, Pokemon Platinum, which I have that one as well. And basically the main reason that I got that one was because I wanted to find a better way to catch a Giratina, and there we go. And shit, I completely forgot those. Let's go back. To the original Game Boy. They released in 2000. They released Pokemon Stadium and Pokemon Stadium 2 for the N64. And then moving on to the Game Boy Advance with Leaf Green, Fire Red, Emerald, Ruby, and Sapphire. They released Pokemon XD or DX. It had like the dark Pokemon, and they also released Pokemon Colosseum, which they were like their own stories. But I have Colosseum, but I don't have the other one. I think it's XD, but I'm not sure. Feel free to correct me on that, if you will. And then moving on the Wii, because I'm looking at my poster over there, they released Pokemon Battle Revolution, which was kind of the same as Pokemon Stadium. But I think you could do that. You could take your Pokemon from like Diamond and Pearl, and you can put them onto Battle Revolution, and it's the same thing with Stadium, where you could buy like an expansion pack for your N64 controller. You could plug in your Game Boy, your Pokemon Red game or Blue, whichever one you bought, and you could download Pokemon from your Blue, and you could transfer them to Stadium to battle. That's a really good idea. And then they released PokePark Wii, but that doesn't count. And then on the N64, I remember, God, I really suck at this. But going back to the N64 again, they released Pokemon Snap. I want to say they released something else. Pokemon Puzzle League. And I remember I would go to my church every day, and we'd have like a big reception and they had a TV, and they had an N64, and they had, I think, like 2 games, and it was Pokemon Snap and like one of the Star Wars games. It wasn't Battlefront, but it was like, if you know what I'm talking about, then you know. But yeah. So I basically grew up with Snap, even though it's older than me. I think. No, it's not older than me. Never mind. And where are we? We're at black, aren't we? Yes, we are. We are at black and white. Black and white were released. And black and white were they seriously screwed up black and white, because they didn't include any Pokemon from the originals, like Pikachu or Geodude, which have been there since the beginning. Or at least Pikachu. I don't know about Geodude. Yeah, Geodude's been in there. And then I think, if they haven't already released it, I think they've released Black and White 2, which I'm not even going to bother buying. After Black was a huge letdown, I don't think I want to buy Black and White 2. And then they well, not then, because it's the latest installment, but they've also released like Pokemon Rumble for the Wii. I think it's on WiiWare though. I haven't really played it. I've only played the demo. And they also released like Explorers of Darkness and Time and Sky on the DS. And they also released Blue Team and Red Team, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Team, Rescue Squad. No, I think it's like Blue Team and Red Team, and they released those on the Game Boy Advance. And then there's the Pokemon Ranger series on DS, which has Pokemon Ranger Shadows of Almia, and Pokemon Ranger, the other one. I don't know what it's called. But I think that is about it. If I'm missing anything, Heart Gold and Soul Silver. They were remakes of Gold and Silver. So there you go. So I think that covers everything. If it didn't, then feel free to tell me, and yeah. So this is just this video that I came up with like 2 minutes ago to make. So yeah, bye.